Your heart is an extremely important part of your body, and many people way back when associated the heart with love. So why do they say your heart is the center of your emotions, or why do they used to? I guess they still say that. You can see Valentine's Day cards. We all talk about, speak from the heart, or something from, my heart is broken. I think I can think back to the first time that I went and talked to my wife. I was working out at the gym, lifting the big pink weights, and then I went down and talked to this woman, my future wife, and I remember when I went up to talk to her for the first time, I thought my heart was going to blast through my chest. I was so nervous, things beating like crazy, and I felt alive though. And I think that's probably why you say love or emotions come from that heart, is if you've ever been in those situations, like your heart, you feel it in there, you feel that beating. Obviously that's not where it is, it's in your brain, but you have that connection to your heart. So I could be wrong, but that's why I think people say the heart is the site or center of emotions in certain cultures. So the heart, it is part of the circulatory system. And just as the name implies, you're going to be circulating something throughout your body. And in this case, it's going to be blood. So your heart is the pump, and then you've got a set of tubes that are going to be passing that blood throughout your body. Every cell in your body that is alive needs some oxygen, needs some sugar to still continue to survive. So your circulatory system is going to be bringing those things to those cells. And that's the main purpose of the circulatory system. Okay? So, what is in blood? Blood is, we're going to break it into two pieces. There's cellular pieces and then there's plasma pieces. The cellular pieces are going to be your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets. The red blood cells, they're going to be moving oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout your body. The white blood cells, they're going to be monitoring and making sure certain things that don't belong will be taken out, like bacteria or viruses of some kind. And then platelets are there if you have a break or a cut in your system, it'll help patch those holes. The plasma is considered the liquid portion of your blood. And it's going to have the water, it's going to have sugar, it's going to have all the necessary pieces that your cells around the body need, and that's what that plasma is doing. It's moving those nutrients and whatnot around your body. So that is the two different parts of your blood. Now, the way that the blood leaves the heart and the path that it takes throughout your body, I'm not going to go into specifics. Just know that you have blood that will leave the heart, it'll get oxygenated in your lungs, it'll come back to the heart, and then it's going to get sent out again to the rest of your body, and then it comes back to your heart to then go back to your lungs, back to the heart, then back to the rest of the body. You need to be moving that oxygen throughout your body. You need to be getting rid of that CO2. So that's the path that it makes. It's almost like a figure eight. That's sort of the way that I think of the blood moving throughout the body. So you've got three types of tubes that are in your body moving blood. You've got arteries that are moving blood away from your heart. You've got veins that are bringing blood back to your heart. And then you've got capillaries that are going to be the in-between. Now, seeing arteries are incredibly difficult because they are deep within inside your body, and often you don't get to see them because they're that deep in there. Veins, on the other hand, you can see. Those are the ones that you see in your arm. And I've actually applied a tourniquet from before to my arm here. And you can see all the blood vessels that are in somebody, not all, but many of the blood vessels that are in somebody's arm by applying that tourniquet. You could also use your hand here to hold your arm to prevent some of that blood flow into your arm. And you'll be able to see those different types of tubes running through there. And there are lots of them. There's more on this side. They're all over the place. So you've got these blood vessels that are bringing blood back to your heart. Since I've applied this tourniquet, it's preventing the blood flow from coming back, and it's preventing a majority of the blood going into my arm. Okay? So these tourniquets have saved countless lives because they will stop the bleeding in an arm or a leg that otherwise would have killed an individual. Your capillaries, you can actually see your capillaries if you ever have bloodshot eyes. You can sometimes see the capillaries in your ears. But what I like to do is I will get my phone and I will put on the flashlight, and then I will take off my glasses and I'll put that flashlight to the side of my eye. And I have my eyes closed, and if I move this around, I can actually see a webbing of black lines in there, red and black lines. And what I'm looking at, those black lines, are actually your capillaries in the back of your eye, which is actually really neat. And they're in perfect focus. I've got horrendous vision, and yet when I do that trick, I can see the capillaries in there, which is pretty neat. So I'd say give it a shot. You could also use your phone. You can place your finger over the end of it, and sometimes you might see one or two little blood vessels in your fingers. I can't tell you if it's an artery or a vein. I don't know. It depends what one you're looking at. But in general, I would say you're looking at veins. You can also use that flashlight on your wrist. Again, you'd want it when it's dark, and you would be able to see some of those blood vessels in your wrist, which is really neat to look at under those circumstances. Blood pressure. What the heck is the doctor or nurse doing when you go to the hospital and they measure your blood pressure? Well, they're going to be using a sphygmomanometer. Say that 3 times fast. Manometer. That's this thing. And all it is a cuff that squeezes your arm when you pump it up, and they're going to use a stethoscope as well. And that stethoscope is so they can hear the blood going through your arm. So the idea is pump up the cuff, stop blood from going down your arm. They'll put a stethoscope there to listen to make sure no blood is going to the rest of your arm. And then they're going to let the air out of that cuff until they can hear the blood finally able to go through. So you're smushing all those blood vessels, and the heart's trying to get that blood out, and it's got some pressure to do that. But once it's loose enough, you'll hear the heartbeat go through. And they'll note that number on this dial. So they'll have that number, and hopefully the number is around 120 or less. They'll then let more and more of the gas out, and it'll go less and less on your arm until they don't hear the heartbeat anymore through your arm. And then they stop there. And that's going to be the lower number, the resting number for your pressure. And hopefully that's going to be 80 or less. So I heard my first thump at 120, my last thump at 80, so I would have a blood pressure of 120 over 80. So you typically hear some doctors and nurses will say 120 over 80. That is the high pressure when your heart is really forcing that blood out, getting through that cuff, and then that 80 is when the heart is resting. Now there are many things that can change your blood pressure, and I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can change your blood pressure, but real briefly, exercise, what you eat, stress, things like that are going to change your blood pressure. And it is important to know your blood pressure to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, okay? Heart rate. How much does your heart beat, and how much should it beat in a minute? Well, that's going to be dependent upon you as a person, your size, your activity level. Now, the neat thing about your heart is it can adjust. When you start exercising, the heart rate is going to go up. When you start to relax, it's going to go back down. One of the neat ways to do this, and I'll put a link in the description below, is click on a scary movie clip. take your pulse before you watch the scary movie clip, and then watch the scary movie clip and take your pulse again. It'll probably go up a bit. And now why is that? Your body is going to be releasing a hormone, adrenaline, that is going to increase your heart rate. And you get that fight or flight feeling, and a lot of people like that. That's why scary movies are so popular. And that will cause your heart to beat. It's going to move more oxygen throughout your body. It's going to get more glucose throughout your body. So you're going to be ready to fight or run away. That's that flight part. I really enjoy talking about scary movies. I hate scary movies. I don't watch them because I just don't like that feeling. But a lot of people do. They enjoy that rush of adrenaline through their body as they're watching that scary movie. So, like I said, I would highly recommend looking at the scary movie clips down below. I picked ones that don't have blood and guts in it, but it's, they're scary nonetheless, I think. So that's one way to increase your heart rate, is just by scaring. And finally, go out there and work that heart out. Do something that is out of your comfort zone, that you normally wouldn't do or normally wouldn't say or normally wouldn't talk to. Go out and do that and be nervous. Get that heart beating through that chest. Feels good, it makes you feel alive. So until next time, I'll see you guys.